Should we start, Sharon?
Yeah, let's go right ahead now. I think we can.
Okay.
People
So
can-
Sharon Silvio and I are the point people for the Afghan refugee working group of the Temple Sinai Social Action Committee. And it was suggested that we have speakers from Catholic Family Center and Keeping Our Promise come to really explain what they do and what volunteer opportunities are available. So luckily, Lauren Fry from Catholic Family Center and Gigi and Teresa Eckert, who is in another state altogether from, I think, Colorado, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. From Keeping Our Promise, agreed within just a week's notice to come onto this Zoom and give us a little explanation of these volunteer activities. So what we had envisioned was we would call upon Lauren from Catholic Family Center first and let her speak for like 20 minutes. And then we would ask Teresa to speak about caring circles and volunteer opportunities from Keeping Our Promise. And then we would open it to questions, and people should feel free to write the questions in the chat, but hopefully everyone will put themselves on mute while our two wonderful, generous speakers are speaking. So Sharon, do you want to add anything?
No, I just wanted to make sure that we also, everybody knows that Joni Rubin is part of our little committee, and she's here with us tonight.
Yes, and Liz and Sandy are also. Sandy,
and Sandy, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'm here. I'm just
okay. Thank you.
Great. No, that's okay. Feel free to do that. So
okay, and it is being recorded. Yeah.
I think we're ready to start. So, Teresa, do you want to start first?
Oh, we were going to start with Lauren.
Oh, sorry, Lauren. Yes, we did.
Actually, the refugee program coordinator at Catholic Family Center.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to have Gigi talk a little bit first about just the sheer number and volume of what really has gone down the past 6 weeks, because it really is pretty incredible. As many of you know, Catholic Family Center, we were for World Relief just came in, but we are the resettlement agency for Rochester. So everyone comes through us. We provide all the case managers and core services. And so it has been an incredibly intense last 2 months. I've never worked harder in my life. So Gigi is, as you all know, a very eloquent speaker. I'm gonna have him talk a little bit about just the sheer number, just to give you all an idea. Under my umbrella of who I am the volunteer coordinator as well. And probably what Teresa says and what I say, we have very similar things in terms of what like volunteer opportunities, and it's all the same people that we're helping, so which is great. But I'll let Gigi sort of take that on, if that's okay, Gigi, about the numbers and everything. Just unmute yourself, yeah.
Okay, thank you all just for this opportunity. I'll try to make it really short. I understand that this is about volunteers and what activities are going on. Just to give you some perspective, in the last, what we are tasked with is to resettle 250 Afghans in about 3-4 months. So there are months that we resettled about 130. And there are weeks that we resettled about 50, 60 a week. So the pressure is really relentless. And what that means is we have to work around the clock 6 days, 7 days a week. And finding housing is a big challenge. Sometimes we don't get enough notice to look for housing. When you have 50 new arrivals a week, a family of 5, a family of 1, 2, or single people. It's just we are working under tremendous pressure. And we feel the pressure in the case managers and Lauren and everybody working at Catholic Family Center in the Refugee Resettlement Department. That is what makes it difficult or different this time than the previous times since the US started resettling refugees since the 1980s. Just we have 63,000 Afghans already in the US, and about altogether we think about 90 to 125 will be allowed in but for now 63,000, and the military facilities want these people out by February 15. So from October 1st to February 15, 63,000 refugees need to be resettled throughout the US. So we are about 250 already, and we are reaching to that number, and we are surpassing. We expect to surpass that number because some of them are coming by their own instead of coming through the proper channel. So this is just the environment that we are working in. You can imagine how much manpower, how much volunteers, and how much funding and everything it requires to make this work. Thank you. If you have questions, I'll just stick around, but please, Lauren, take it away.
Thank you so much, Gigi. And so as the volunteer coordinator, I work with individuals on ways to support our case managers and our clients. And we're extremely flexible. We always want people to feel comfortable in doing the role that they feel they would best be suited at. So I know other organizations might talk about like sponsoring families and things like that. I often get asked, how can we sponsor a family? We really are no longer, we never really are looking for money, but we're looking for people's time. That's really what is the most need. And that can come in all different shapes. One being a family mentor, which is where you work with a family to help them as they adjust to their new life in Rochester. It could be helping them open their mail and look through their bills. It could be helping them get to a laundromat. It could be practicing conversational English, and we would provide all of these suggestions. We have training that we provide. We always are looking for tutors, ESL tutors. All of our clients, we sign them up to go to Oases, but a lot of the moms stay home because they have small children or they choose to stay home. So we're always looking for people with the tutoring. One thing, and Gigi's probably like, bring this up, Lauren, we always need drivers. And I know this is probably the same with KOP, like our clients have a tremendous amount of appointments, going to the Refugee Health Center, registering for school. It's endless. And our case managers have multiple cases. And so we always need some I like to call people too, like you're an advocate as well. Maybe if you accompany someone to a medical appointment, you're helping them, check in, because there's that language barrier. People need help. It's not just, as simple as picking someone up and dropping them off. It's more than that. We also always are looking for people to help in our offices with case file reviews and things like that. We also have people who, we have an entire workforce department. So we refer our clients to our workforce department, and then we need volunteers to help as they create a resume, do their online applications, and sort of walk them through that process alongside our workforce case managers. And so it really is endless in terms of the help, but I can't stress enough when people always ask, like, what can we do? What do you need? And the Rochester community has been so incredibly generous with money and items like hygiene products, but now it really is people's time, the ability to volunteer. And I think in making those connections, having someone outside their case manager that people can call on is very comforting, especially, in Rochester where, things get busy. We have people who bus train as well, because we have all our clients in the city because that's where all the services are. And that's where the bus system. So, and again, if you have your own idea of ways that you feel like you could best help our clients, we are always open and very flexible. We want it to, we don't want to just tell you what to do. We want you to be really part of that process. And that's why we have our training of volunteer orientation. We do background checks as well, because our clients are particularly vulnerable. We want to make sure that they are protected. But it really is, for me, I started out as a volunteer and I left my 12-year teaching career to come to the Catholic Family Center. So I can't tell you how rewarding it is. And you develop friendships for a lifetime. If you have any questions, I am happy to answer them specifically about different roles that we have. But like I said, we're extremely flexible. We don't hold you to a specific amount of time, but we like to sort of meet people where they're at.
Great. Thank you so much, Lauren. And Gigi, what is your title? You're on mute. I'm sorry.
Refugee Resettlement Program Manager.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
All right. So hold your questions and we'll have Teresa Eckert, who is the Caring Circle manager for Keeping Our Promise, and also a board member, as well as one of the original people who volunteered with Ellen Smith in 2014 to form what was called No One Left Behind and now has become Keeping Our Promise. And as I said, she's all the way in Colorado. So take it away, Teresa.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, so much for having Keeping Our Promise and thinking of us. We greatly appreciate it. What Keeping Our Promise is we're an organization that helps SIV, which is an acronym for a special immigration visa. These are basically our Afghan friends that have helped our troops over in Afghanistan in one way or another as translators, or has worked at the embassy. So their lives still are threatened. And this whole thing, when the whole thing went down, very, very threatened, as you know, they needed to get out of Afghanistan. So we, for years, have been helping them because of their lives being threatened, because the Taliban doesn't like us, and they, retrospect, would, if they found an SIV, they would, wasn't good, to put that nicely. So I've been involved in this organization, like I said, mentioned, since 2016, one of Ellen's first volunteers. I am in Colorado. I work out here during the winter months. And I am so, just moving out here, I'm still committed to KOP because I just think, what Ellen has done, it's a wonderful organization. I just cannot pull apart from it, because these families are just wonderful. They're so appreciative of anything we do to help them. With that being said, and they're just, like I said, wonderful. So what I do is I'm the Caring Circle manager. In a Caring Circle, what we did is we set these Caring Circles up, I don't even know how, like 2-3 years ago now. And when we do have a family come in, this family is connected with Catholic families, and Catholic families provide certain services for them, like helps them get their benefits, their SNAP card and so on, and sets up their refugee appointments. So they do certain things. So we sort of work together in that respect. And then what we do is we help these families with their apartment set up and so on. And we create Caring Circles. So every family is assigned to a Caring Circle, which is a group of volunteers. And these volunteers, it's really neat because they really get to know the families. And they help them everything from, it gets very busy at the beginning, but everything from, food shopping to make sure they have food, they're checking at the house, sort of what Lauren says, sort of the volunteers she's looking for as well, help them go through the mail, all sorts of things, apartment etiquette, everything down from like how to recycle it, and explain when you do take them shopping about comparing prices. We do a lot of driving for them for appointments. If there's an emergency, they reach out to us, like a dental emergency or emergency before they have SNAP, and we help them out with that in respect. So we do a number of various things to help them. For example, if they like I know Catholic families will take them and get them clothing at Saint's Place, for the first 3 months. But let's say 6 months down the road and they need, change of season and need more clothing, we would take care of that with them. If there's certain things they need, we'll look up onto local sites to see if we can maybe find something, next door app or something that a neighbor may be wanting to get rid of, that we can help them with that as well. And so we do all sorts of various things like that. What we do is I coordinate a caring circle meeting with every group of volunteers. And we just started recording it because we're getting so many families in. It's just, we can't keep up with all the families. So we have it recorded. So it's a full training for them. They can refer back to it. We put together a volunteer handbook. Let's say we have recreational things, we have things in Rochester. If they want to take them to the museum, they look up in our handbook and it explains that, how to go about that and tickets and so on. So, we do everything from trying to, show them the recreation thing about Rochester, helping them when the kids with school and explaining that sort of thing. Catholic Families does register them from school, but we also, help explain the school situation, parents' night. We try to get a little calendar going so they're aware of it. Like teachers' conferences and so on. Basically everything. If someone just, like if you had someone in your family come to Rochester from another country and you had to get them situated in America and explain this, this is what we do in America and this is how we do things here. We do that whole thing. So we do have a group, because we get some people in the caring circle that just love to be, but part of the caring circle, but they're like, you know what, I work and I really can't get them to doctor's appointments. So we have a separate group of volunteers also for drivers. Not that our caring circle people cannot take them. But if they cannot, we have a system set up. They send an email out and we have someone that coordinates and sets up a driver for them with that. So we have like separate coordinators for different things. If they need a translator, we have a list of translators that we can use. So the caring circle will send an email to this translator person who will reach out and find a translator. So we try to get it down that the caring circle members can spend time with the families, but not feel that they are like, oh gosh, I can't be part of their caring circle because I don't like to drive, or I have too small of a car, or various things like that. What we do with the family too is we try to take them down the public market on Saturday mornings or Thursday, depending on the family situation, and help them shop wisely with the money they receive, particularly with the SNAP benefit down there. With that, so I think that's sort of it. I don't know if I'm missing anything. We work with the family on one thing that KOP does is we provide a used car for them. After they've been here, they have to do 100 volunteer hours. So we help them coordinate their volunteer hours. And then they earn their car, which we find very, very useful for them because obviously they need a car to get to work. We do help them with the WASIS. Like Catholic Families registers them for WASIS, but we help with them following up, making sure that they are going to WASIS, with family situations and so on. If there's a problem, we help out with that as well. So that's sort of it in a nutshell. Erwin, can you think of anything that I might have missed in that respect?
Yeah, I think I could. Let's see. I've got a 3-page document of all the different coordinators that we have for different aspects of that which we do. And I won't go through the whole thing, but it's quite extensive. And without going into the details, as Teresa said, we provide a heck of a lot of help and resources to the incoming individuals and families. I'd like to clarify something, if I may, and Gigi and Lauren help me out because sometimes the waters get a little muddied. Let me start by saying the Catholic Family Center is with the exception of a new group that's just starting in town, they are the United States government's designated organization to resettle refugees from anywhere in the world here in the Monroe County area. Keeping Our Promise devotes our time and volunteers specifically to those folks from Afghanistan and previously had been Iraq who served either with or for or some tangential way with our troops. Historically, the way, and we have a memorandum of understanding with Catholic Family Center, and historically, the way it has worked is that when folks from Afghanistan or Iraq came to Rochester and had SIV, Special Immigration Visa status, once again, they would be inputted, if you will, by Catholic Family Center, who have a contractual obligation with the government to provide certain services for 3 months. Am I correct about that? Our agreement
Yes,
is such
that is
that
correct.
when these folks arrived here, Catholic Family Center would immediately advise, well, they would advise Keeping Our Promise that they were coming. And historically, Keeping Our Promise would find living quarters for these folks, most typically an apartment. We would completely furnish the apartment, pay the first month's rent, and cover any security deposit. And then we would form a caring circle that Teresa explained. Things have changed a little bit, partially because of the chaos that we're all experiencing. But generally, Gigi, would you say that's the way in which we work together and tie in together?
Yes.
Okay. And I thought it was important to advise everybody just the basic difference between your organization and our organization. Marilyn, I think that covers that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Erwin is the chairperson of the board of Keeping Our Promise. I believe that is correct?
I believe you're correct too.
And
All right.
Lauren, did you want to add something, Lauren, to what
Yes.
Erwin said? Okay.
I'm so glad Erwin brought that up. So we help, obviously, like currently we have like a mass arrival of the Afghan, but we're like Erwin said, we're helping refugees from all over the world. So like we just had some Somalian family. That was Somalian family, Gigi, right? That just came in.
Congolese.
So we and thank you for pointing that out. I know we focus a lot on the Afghan arrivals, but we will start to pick up getting people. I think we're down for 600 something. You probably know the number.
Yep.
This fiscal year, in addition to the Afghan arrivals that we have.
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right. So I see that there is one question that came into the chat from Jill Stanger. So I'm going to ask you all that question. And then if other people have questions, you can just, raise your hand. I forgot to say that Teresa Eckert's son is married to Liz Ornstein's daughter. Just a little connection with Temple Son. Okay. Okay. So Jill Stanger asks, how does the Caring Circle coordinate and organize between one another? So that's for you, Teresa and Erwin.
So how do we
Well-
coordinate it? Say that, just repeat that question. How do we?
Jill, you can,
Yeah, let me just jump in. I'm curious, we're getting these emails that say we need somebody, we need a caring circle established immediately. Contact us and to sign up. So what I'm curious about is those of us who sign up for a family, how do we coordinate amongst ourselves who's doing what? Or do you have somebody that does that with us? Does that make sense?
Good question. First of all, Deb, you're probably getting emails from Deb. And she's been sending out the emails because we are running low on caring circles. And what we do is when I have the caring circle meeting, I say, you know what, I leave it up to the caring circle. Because, you know, we all have different things that we, you know, excel in, or we like somebody may be like computer skills are not my expertise and I'm really slow at typing an email. Somebody else has it down like that. Then they would be the coordinator and you know, oversee like we have what's called a face sheet that says, okay, this is what needs to be done. This is what needs to be done. So we have a checklist and they go through the checklist of everything that has to be done. And so what we do as a meeting is to say, okay, who would like to contact, for example, Dennis Moss is our employment coordinator. He helps, he has a down pat and he works with companies and helps them find jobs, helps them do their resume. He has, like Erwin says, we have another number of different areas that people can work in. Dennis has some volunteers working with him. So somebody say, okay, I will be the liaison with Dennis Moss. So that person will email back and forth, talk to the new family, find out that, let's say so-and-so did electrical work in Afghanistan. Did he bring a copy of their resume? So they would send all of that information to Dennis and they would be that liaison. Somebody else may be, you know, the connection with the WASIS, just to make sure they're going to school. What level English are they at? You know, they will be out of school in this amount of time. We might have somebody like to help make sure with the kids in school. We try, if possible, to, like, we have a family in East Rochester and someone in the caring circle took care of registering the kids for preschool. So we go down our checklist. Who wants to oversee food coordination? Who wants, that person would check in with them weekly to make sure that they're okay with food and then contact other caring circle people. So I go boom, 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 break down the checklist. And then I encourage the new caring circle to, and it's really neat when the caring circles know each other. It just really helps out a lot. Or, you know, like a group of you from, you know, the same temple and so on, that's really helpful. We find extremely helpful. And so we'll go.
Can I just jump in and ask you, so there's been an immediacy feeling in the emails that have been coming out from the women you refer to. So you're clarifying that we're not jumping right into work with families before we are coming to a training. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we actually recorded our caring. Yes, we don't want you to, because I mean, I wouldn't want to jump into anything, even a new job, without training. Total correct. So what we have done is we recorded the caring circle training, which I do the whole thing. And we've had other people on it too, but so then you can listen to it. So let's say, and this is the situation, we used to have caring circle meetings, individual meetings with every family. Well, just like at the family, we are getting overwhelmed with families and we just cannot keep up. So we done some recording, and then the person, let's say we have a family come in and I'm not able to get the meeting going, just because literally I'd be doing meetings pretty much like 3 or 4 times a week, which doesn't work with my work schedule. So anyways, so what we do is we recorded it. So we have the caring circle, watch the video. Any urgent, you know, and I get copies on all emails. We have caring circle members. Let's say it's, you know, Larry and Judy and John and, you know, Mary. They send a group email to everybody. I get copied on the group email. So if there's a question for me, I always say, you know, I tell them a certain thing and it's in training, you know, you highlight it, you know, Teresa, need to read or whatever, or I even have my phone number. If it's an urgent question, you have a concern of like, so-and-so just fell down the stairs, needs to go to the emergency room, what do we do? Send me a text. So we have it down that we, you know, and then backup people that can help out if I'm not able to be reached. So we really try to support you in the caring circle. I see what's happening in the caring circle. Somebody might be good, go over there on a Tuesday and say, I went over there, checked on food. They're good on food. They should be good until Saturday. And Mary mentioned they're going to take them to the public market on Saturday. So we encourage that email communication. Now, if your caring circle is like, we like to use this form of communication, go right ahead. that's fine. I still want to get a rundown, an email, a copy of what is going on with the caring circle. We encourage all caring circles as well to basically record on the face sheet, like everybody will get a copy of the face sheet. And on that face sheet, there's all sorts of information, like so-and-so got his permit. You put the date, I'm going to take in the DMV to pick it up, put the date and so on. So anyone in the caring circle can go to the face sheet and say, oh, this has been done. Oh, this is a concern. We need to follow up on this. We encourage the caring circles to have meetings themselves, Zoom meetings, Google Meets meeting, like once or twice a week, just to make sure you're all on the same page. Does that help? I know that was a very long-winded
It's great.
answer. I
Thank
hope it
you.
was.
Thank you.
Okay, there's some other questions that came in the chat, and I know, Joan, you have a question too, but Donna asked, is there a way to volunteer for conversational or literacy tutoring on Zoom? I guess that's for all you guys, both of you.
We offer a beginner's class for English with your the goal of like getting to our citizenship class, because to get your citizenship, you do need to learn English. So we offer a class and we're always looking for help. I also help our volunteers tutor people via Zoom. My mother does it with a woman. Even that is another thing, is helping people learn Zoom, because when the keyboard is different, like I never realized how difficult teaching someone like hitting shift and to get like things that you never think of. So yes, we have that. And then I can also speak about the COVID status as well. Someone had that.
Oh, yeah.
So all the people that were coming from the forts, and Gigi can correct me if I'm wrong, basically they all got vaccinated. All are in the like Afghan population culture, they were pretty determined to get vaccinated anyways. So they are all vaccinated. At Catholic Family Center, our director, Lisa Hoyt, is very strict on COVID. So you can't do anything without a mask in our facility or with our patients or with our clients, sorry. So we have a strict masking policy. And then I would say, like Gigi, would you say like 99% of our clients right now are vaccinated?
Yes, I completely agree. If for whatever reason they didn't get it before getting here, they will get it here. One of the requirements later to become a citizen is just to get their medical records. So they know that, and that is correct.
Let me jump in about literacy with respect to keeping our promise. Before COVID shut so many things down, we did run once a week classes at Grace Church on Blossom Road, which was somewhat successful. However, we are now basically turning to just advising all of our caring circle folks so that they could advise the people that they're working with. We're putting together a directory of all of the literacy resources throughout the city. There are so many, Oasis included, that, and also, for instance, the Witten Branch Library on Witten Road, right down the end of Blossom. So many resources available that we don't want to be duplicating things. And that's what we're doing right now.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to take another question from the chat. Marilyn Fenster asked, what is the typical size of a caring circle?
That's a good question too. That depends on the size of the family. Sometimes we have a couple and we really don't need, and they may have, some of these families that have been coming in lately have a relative or friend that is willing to help out. So it varies between family and family. So if it's a couple, there's not going to be near as many people. If we have a family of 6, we're going to have a bigger caring circle.
And what would you
Probably
think?
maybe 6, 4 or 5. It depends on, like a family of 6 and the kids are young and they have a lot of appointments and things like that. We would probably have a big caring circle, like a 5 people or something like that.
Okay.
Now, let me jump in and explain something. Teresa said the refugee family, the SIV family might have friends here. Well, yes, they may. We've been doing this for 7 years now and have formed some communities around here of Afghans and Iraqis. And as time goes on, more folks who come here are indeed related to some of the folks who are already here or are friends because they either lived near each other or they worked with each other. It's kind of exciting to see that happen.
Great. Okay, I'm gonna call on Joan. Ruben, you had a
Thank
question?
you. Yes, hi, everyone. I think my question is related to what Leslie put in the chat also. I'm still quite confused about the kind of glue or links or because it sounds like, I mean, you, Teresa, you said sort of at the end of your remarks that you encourage the caring circles to get together, but that just happens spontaneously. It sounds to me like there are lots of individual tasks to be done. And that's good in the sense that people have busy lives. And so somebody can do something at one time, somebody else can do something else at another time. On the other hand, the image of a caring circle is of a group of people who know each other and who all know the family and who work together. I'm not getting that. Is that an accurate description of what happens? It's not a question of good or bad. It's a little bit confusing. And also, so at Catholic Family Center, so it's, how does that work in terms of connecting people who are doing this, working with the same family, help supporting the same family? How does that work? So you say, I want to volunteer and I'm going to work with this family. And then how do you meet the other people? Like,
Well,
you might be doing the bus route, but somebody else might be doing the language. So you never meet that other person, or?
Well, I guess there's some confusing. Catholic families with their volunteers aren't volunteering for our families. So hopefully that would clear. So
They're not volunteering for a family.
They're not volunteering for our SIV families because so that's where we're separated. We have a mutual agreement with them, but then we only help SIV families, special immigration visas that come from Afghanistan.
Right.
Well, most of them are all from Afghanistan now.
Okay, and just 1 second, please, Teresa. So and Lauren, your families are, I understand that they're from all over the world, but so that's, so I get, so is that the only difference? I mean, I guess I got lost at the.
Can I say something? I just want to add in, I was in a caring circle a few years ago, and I know things are speeded up now, but what happened was Deb Abel had a meeting of everybody who wanted to be in a caring circle, and there were like 12 people who came to her house one day. Some of them had been to some orientation. I couldn't make that. And we sort of arbitrarily decided, who was going to be together. Deb sort of appointed people to be together. And I think people who knew each other were together, and they tried to put someone with experience in each group. There wasn't anyone in my group. We had 4 people and it was a couple. So that was really a lot of people to take care of 2 individuals. But, and so we started meeting together. We figured out that we were going to do email. We met at Panera's. That was, I don't know, Teresa and Erwin, if that sounds like the way things usually go.
Yeah, and now with COVID and everything, I mean, a lot of these meetings are virtual, which
Right.
I think everyone's sort of gotten alike because it's, no one has to go out on a cold night. They can just click on their Google Meets or something at 7 o'clock at night, like we're doing tonight, and do a virtual meeting, which is helpful. And you just go down, and so that's where you connect. Say, you know what? I was over there Tuesday. We don't need someone to go there, check on Wednesday. We try to coordinate it so we're working smoothly as a support system for the family. Now, this past summer, for example, the Karen Circle all wanted to go over and greet the family. So they said, you know what? It was a nice day. This happened more than once. They went over there, took lawn chairs and met the family. That family was staying with another Afghan family that they knew, which is, like Erwin mentions, really super helpful because it's neat to see these families helping each other out. And they all sat down in lawn chairs, brought a couple balls or something for the kids to play with. Somebody brought, some of their older, 10-year-old kids, and they played and got to know them, and kept their distance.
Okay.
But it sounds like that happens sort of spontaneously, which is great, but it's not like,
Well, no, it didn't. In my
Yeah,
caring circle, we did meet to decide what Teresa was talking about, those checklist things. Who's going to do what?
right.
What kind of time do we have? How are we going to help? I think, Teresa and Erwin, that's what everybody's like confused about, is how do these people that get together, when do they have meetings? And I think,
Well,
I'm sorry, Marilyn, but I just want to clarify for Catholic families. So you have this Congolese family coming. So again, would you just go over again? You probably said this, how that works. So let's say I just want to be a support for a family that's new to Rochester, but do I work with other people, other volunteers?
For us, we have our case managers who are the lead. So our case managers do a lot of what the caring circle does. Those are required services per our USCCB contract,
Right.
so a lot of the things that you're hearing her talk about, our case managers are attending, and then our volunteers come in as like supplementary, and we work very one-on-one with you. It's not as like just go out and do whatever. It's more of detail, like need specific and things like that. So we're a little bit more involved, and we're a big agency. So I'm the volunteer coordinator. So I'm working with you. And someone asked about where are the resources. Like for us, once we know that you're serious and you are going to do a background check and all of that, we bring you in, we do a volunteer orientation. I give you tons of resources and things like that.
Okay, but so and it's just very different. And if I were doing, say, school registration with the Congolese family, I might never meet the person who is doing the bus orientation with the Congolese family.
No, because like I have two people who are really comfortable with the bus, and we have a whole system where they come in and they teach that family how to do things. And it really depends on the need of the family. Like they might have a close family mentor who's always working with them.
Okay.
But like we try to not overwhelm. So my mom is a volunteer, and she likes bringing people to their medical appointments and advocating for them. But a lot of those families also have a family mentor who likes to do the fun stuff, like go to the library and make gingerbread houses with them.
Right. So I mean, I think for us, for me, I'll just speak for myself. I see a lot of pluses in the background checks, the training, their case managers are social workers, I assume. But I also see an advantage to working, to building a kind of a community with fellow volunteers. And that's just like that's not the purpose, obviously. The purpose is to support these people, but it would be a kind of, side effect that would be good. So that's what I'm of two minds.
okay. Can I call upon, well, there were two things that happened, but Jill Miller has her hand up. So I'm going to call on her, and then Sharon had a question.
Mm-hmm. Jill, you're
muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had a bunch of questions, and most of them is sort of from a project management perspective. This is obviously just an initial orientation, but we also got the comments that the volunteers would, if they were serious, they would be brought in, they would have a volunteer overview, there would be a background check, there would be an assignment to a circle, and somehow a circle leader would be determined. I don't think it's quite that regimented, and yet I'm wondering, how do you actually get into a circle with somebody who is doing the coordination? And I mean, how do you start this process?
So that's for, your question is for keeping our promise, because the Catholic Family Center does the background checks, but I don't think keeping our promise doesn't.
Yeah, you
I'd like to
you did what
respond to-
I did, Jill. You mixed up the two different things.
Okay,
I'd like to respond to that.
sure.
With respect to keeping our promise, it all starts with an individual, and that could be you, Jill, signing up to be a volunteer.
Okay, so I've done that. Now what?
Okay. Well, if you've done that, and pardon me for not remembering, because I'm the one who generates a welcome email to you. And the welcome email has just a lot of nice words, welcoming you, but it also points you to our website and to our Facebook pages, and also has a paragraph in there indicating that Deb Abel is our Caring Circle assimilator. And when a Caring Circle is needed, she will send out an email or post on Facebook that need.
But
And
where's
you
the training?
hold away. You haven't responded to Deb yet to say you want to be in a Caring Circle. When you do, and she's putting one together, there will be training for that Caring Circle she has put together.
But it sounds like the training circles are sort of, there's somebody arriving tonight.
Uh,
I mean, those are the emails I've been getting, not
Well,
when
that's,
it's training.
Jill, we're in a very chaotic situation. In the past, all of us would have had 2 or 3 or maybe even more weeks lead time to know that an individual or a family was coming to Rochester. Now, Catholic Family Center and Keeping Our Promise some days has 48 hours notice, sometimes 24, sometimes 4 hours notice. And that's just the way it is, folks.
But I can understand that, but I still need the training before you call me and say I got 4 hours.
You will be,
And that's why we recorded. So if we have, like Deb it's trying to do this, is anybody that's interested, like Erwin says, you connect with Deb, you're interested in being in the Caring Circle. We can send you out the recording immediately and you can watch the recording. And maybe you might watch it and say, I don't think I really want to. It's different than what I thought. Then you could say, you know what, I'd rather just be a driver, or I'd rather help with arrival. We have somebody who does linens for the houses, and we have a number of different areas that people can volunteer with Keeping Our Promise. It's not just Caring Circles. Caring Circles are fun. I love it because you really get to know the family. I wasn't even a Caring Circle. I was their only volunteer because we didn't have Caring Circles back then, but I still keep in touch with this family. I mean, it's just so neat, the bonding you have. And that's, oh my God, this family came from halfway across the world.
Jill,
it's really exciting in that way.
Teresa, I just want to interrupt. Jill, I've been sending the Social Action Committee list the requests from Deb Abel, which usually they come to me because I'm on the list, but they wouldn't ordinarily come to you and other people. I'm just forwarding it because the need seemed really great. So maybe that is contributing to some confusion. I also wanted to add that, let's see, I've volunteered to do grocery shopping for before the families come. So I did a grocery shopping last week and I did one today. So I get a Price Right gift card, and I have a list, a well-organized list, and I buy all the things and I bring them to the apartment that's been designated for the family that's coming. So that's something different besides driving. It's also, there's the grocery shopping that you can do. There's other jobs in KOP as well. Sharon, you had asked, you said because the families are coming in so quickly, if someone wants to help to set up the apartments, do you let them know that night before that they are needed to go help set up the apartment? I guess that's for KOP, I think.
We have
Actually.
okay, or when you're up.
Yeah, we have a cadre of volunteers whose job, their volunteer job, is to set up apartments. And so therefore, unless there's an unusual situation and more folks are needed, a request won't go out. Unfortunately, those folks sometimes are given no more than 24 hours notice that an apartment is has to be set up and furnished.
Okay, Lauren said that Catholic Family Center also has people who set up apartments.
Right.
Yeah, I have some people that's like the only thing they'd like to do. I have a huge like listserv of people. Hey, we have a housing set up at this time, this day, and I always go as well. Or someone from Catholic Family Center is there to help. But yeah, a lot of people like to start there to get their feet wet and move on up to more client facing roles.
And is there a warehouse that has things stored, or are we scrambling from the ground up?
No, so we all work with Saints Place through St. Louis Church. They're incredible. They're one of our #1 partners. And so our housing coordinator coordinates a drop off. So a huge truck, there is a warehouse in Rochester full of donated items, beautiful items. We'll drop it off at the apartment and they just literally drop it. Saints Place boxes up all the items, like everything for the kitchen, everything, all the bedding. And then we go in with our people to set it up. So all the stuff will be there. There's no heavy lifting or things like that will have already been done.
And
Okay.
keeping our
Hey,
promise
Marilyn,
Yeah,
has its own
I
warehouse.
just want to finish my question. My
okay.
thing.
Deborah, you're next. So
Deborah, okay. Deborah,
Oh,
hang-
no, I think Sharon wanted to say something.
yeah, just wanted to finish this. So Erwin and Lauren and Gigi. So then that the person who would like to set up, help set up, because maybe for some reason they don't want to work directly with the family for whatever the reason, COVID or whatever, they can put their name on either organization, CFC, KOP, and then you would contact that person to help them, to let them know that they should come over and help set up the kitchen and make the beds and all those things. Is that correct? Does that make sense? Yeah. Is it Teresa, Erwin? What I said? Erwin, Solomon, you listen?
I think
Erwin,
I'm
you can go, you want me to-
following you, and I
Okay.
think that it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just saying that you guys, you have to get this person's apartment. You have to call Saints Place, and then people have to come and set the beds up and get the linens and set up the kitchen and all that. If somebody wanted to just do those things, they could just they could volunteer with either one of you, and then you would contact them. I'm clarifying there for some other people who might not want to work directly with the new arrivals. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to also go back to Leslie, are you still here? Maybe Leslie.
Yes, I am. Yep.
Oh, Leslie, did you get your question answered way up ahead, way up above? You were one of the first people who wrote something, and it was way up about clarifying the caring circle. Before we go on, I want to be sure that you got your question answered clearly.
I think so. There was definitely a lot of discussion, but it was just that there was a reference to when caring circles know each other. So that was just, is it like the people in the circle, it's handy when they know each other, or is it from one circle to another? Like, hey, we don't have this expertise or this comfort level, but another caring circle does, or someone does in another caring circle. So that was, it was just kind of to clarifying, like, again, when they know each other, what does that mean?
Well, it versus, somebody, it just sort of makes it more fun, I guess you could say, because you know each other. Like we had a Karen circle, I think Erwin, it was from your temple. They helped with a very large family a couple of years ago. And they were just, oh my God, they all knew each other. So when I had
Okay,
the
so
Karen
the
circle
people
meeting,
in the circle know each other. So it's not
Yes.
one circle knows another circle. It's
no, it's the people in the circle.
The circle,
So if you say,
okay,
hey,
okay,
like
got
some
it.
people do it with their neighbors, like lately we've had a couple sharing circles with this in neighborhood. So I do these caring circle
Okay.
meetings and they're like, oh, so-and-so can do that. Oh, he likes to do that. I mean, You just
Got
get
it.
that camaraderie, friendship
Okay.
type thing, which is really, I think, a lot of fun.
Right, and it's a comfort level too, so you already know each other, you're sort of on the same wavelength, instead of like, again, if it's, and this works too, I'm sure it's not horrible, but if it's people who have never met, don't know each other, so you're getting to know the new family that you're sort of hosting, and then one another, that's another whole layer,
And
so,
sometimes, right, and sometimes there can be a little personality, conflict
Yeah.
sort of thing. So
Right.
that's what it's sort of neat. And the people put together their own sort of caring circle. They tend to, from what, I mean, I've been overseeing caring circles, I don't even know how long, 3-4 years since they started. And I see the successful caring circles, and the ones that really enjoy it are the ones that know each other.
yeah.
But you
that
don't
makes
have
sense.
to. And I just wanted to
You don't
interrupt.
have to.
Right. And to say, Deborah Rosenzweig just asked, I guess she recently volunteered for a caring
Yeah.
circle. So you wanted to say a few words?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about my experience a little bit. There was a family that needed a caring circle, and there were a couple of people who were involved, but they needed more volunteers. And 3 of us from Temple Sinai came forward. Myself, Emily, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, Canadlaro or something like that, and Ari, what's Ari's last name?
Elliot.
Ari Elliott. And we just jumped in. We didn't know the other volunteers, and we didn't know each other. We may have met, but we didn't know each other. And we were the other people had experience in caring circles, and they kind of filled us in a little bit about what was going on. It still feels a little chaotic, but I think that's just the nature of the beast. This family arrived in mid-November. Their staff, there was just a lot that was unclear about this. Lauren, it's the Faisy family. They have 2 caseworkers because there's 2 different parts of the family. But they need help with everything. They don't have a car. They can't drive. They have to get to medical appointments. They've needed to get the kids who are old enough to be vaccinated. They had to get registered for school. They had to open a bank account. Once they got their social security cards, they have to go to different appointments. And they need to, before they learn to ride the bus, they needed to be transported to OASES. I don't know what that stands for, but it's where 2 of the men are taking English. There's just all kinds of needs, and their English isn't great, and it's hard to explain some things that they need to understand. And we've each kind of started taking different roles, but at the same time, it's a matter of who's available when to do things. If they have an appointment, somebody has to be available to drive them. It's not just that you have a couple of people who are willing to do it. Somebody has to be able to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty good overview. There's just a couple more questions. Jill Miller has, Erwin?
Deborah,
Yeah.
am I correct that your daughter signed up as a volunteer this morning?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Oh, here
really
she
neat.
is.
Hi.
Hi there, welcome.
Hi, Mary.
But I think that Deborah just explained something very, very well, and she explained the formation and the working of a typical caring circle. Certainly, there are 1,001 unknown contingencies and things that might happen, but her caring circle is made up of intelligent, caring people who communicate with each other, and they get things done.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've met we've not met in person per se. We've had Zoom meetings as a group. Sometimes we've seen each other at the house or dropping off or picking up. But it's also a matter of how comfortable people are with, seeing people given COVID.
Yeah, that's an issue for sure. Jill Miller has her hand raised, and then I think we should wrap it up if there's no other questions. Jill? Oh, Susan has a question.
I had gone to the website, I'd signed up, I got a message from Teresa with an indication that it would be forwarded to the woman who is responsible for doing the caring circles. I guess that hasn't quite happened yet. But again, I'm still back to, I mean, where actually is this training? I mean, what's the link to that? I mean, I haven't gotten anything actionable. That's what, and I've been trying to sort of engage and don't feel like I've been very successful.
Erwin or Teresa, do you want to respond to that?
I was trying to unmute. I'm hitting it, won't unmute. Okay, I can respond to that. And Erwin can pop in too if he'd like. If you, like Erwin mentioned the process, you register as a volunteer and so on. And then did you get an email from Deb?
No, I got an email from you saying that you would contact Deb, but that was over a week ago. I haven't heard anything.
I don't know how it came from me, because Deb is the one, because usually when you volunteer, it goes to Erwin. Erwin passes it on. But anyways,
so I just went to the website and filled out your form.
Erwin, you get all of those, correct?
Quite honestly, Jill, I'm sorry, I'm lost. You filled out a form online, right, and you indicated that in response to that, you received a welcome letter.
No, I got a note. I got a very nice little note from Teresa saying that she would contact Deb.
Something's missing, and so let me, and I can't do it now, of course, check back into our records to make sure you're on the mailing list and that you should be getting and hopefully will be getting all pertinent communications.
Okay, that'd be wonderful.
I can send Jill's email to you if you want, Erwin. Although you should have it.
And then a second question is, do we expect that Temple Sinai, that Marilyn or someone at Temple Sinai is the one who forms the groups, or does Debbie form the groups?
Deb forms the groups, and I just found the email from Deb to you. Do you want me to, this was 7 days ago, Deb got back to you.
Apparently.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we want to take everybody's time.
Yeah, you're right.
Perhaps we ought to do this offline.
I guess we should move on. Sharon and I talked about how to move forward. So I guess if you guys would like to, everybody, if you want to volunteer through Keeping Our Promise, you have to go to their website and fill out the volunteer form, no matter what. But if you'd like to form a caring circle, if you want to send an email to me or Sharon, does that make sense, Sharon? Sure. So you'd know other Temple people that are volunteering, or you could indicate on the volunteer form that you're from Temple Sinai, and maybe Erwin would, make connections with Temple Sinai people. I don't know how best to do that. Erwin, do you have a?
I think both ways, actually. I think that if any of you who have not signed up as volunteers and care to, in doing so, should indicate that you are members of Temple Sinai. But I think perhaps you should also communicate with Marilyn and Sharon to further tighten the bond, and somehow we'll work that out. I must say, I feel a little uncomfortable because we're spending so much time, and that's great because Keeping Our Promise could always use volunteers, but Catholic Family Center could use volunteers too. So,
right, and I was going to say, Catholic
I don't want
Family.
to. I don't want to have them being overlooked.
So Catholic Family Center, I think it's more of an individual. Once again, maybe Lauren and Gigi could just say, how do you volunteer for Oh, Susan has a question too. Maybe you should get her first.
Yeah, my question is what percentage of Afghan refugees coming in are have an SIV status?
The answer that I'm going to give you now is much different than the answer I would have given you 3 months ago. And maybe Gigi could help me out a little more with that, because
Yeah,
it gets a little technical.
that they would be right.
It gets a little technical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gigi, take
Yeah.
it.
Yep. No, okay. SIVs or special immigrant visa, the status is designated by the U.S. Immigration Services, USCIS. No one can give that status because there are steps that need to be fulfilled before someone gets that status. So recently, from the 63,000 Afghans that we received, maybe 2 or 3 families completed the process and have that designation, But most of them have worked or had worked with the US government directly or indirectly, and they are at some stage of this process. So there are like 14 steps that they need to go to, that is reduced to 8. And because of the urgent evacuation, because there was no time to process to complete the process, they picked them up, they brought them here. So they are still in the process, though the majority have worked with the US government, and these are people with the highest security and who have been working with the US government.
Gigi, is it fair to say, unfortunately, the process could take 2 or 3 or more years?
Before August 15, yes, but now because they are already here, the government promised to speed up the process and to cut those steps.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Lauren, just to finish off what I was saying, if people want to volunteer through Catholic Family Center, what is do they go to your website? Do they get in touch with you? What?
Our website, CFC Rochester, has everything. If you want to become a volunteer, or if you want a little faster route, you can email me directly. And I put my email in there. I'll do it again, just because that's my position completely, is to work on onboarding volunteers. So it's right on our website, but also you can just email me or call me directly, and I'm going to put both of that in the chat as well.
Thank you. And I'll try to make a copy of the chat, which seems a little more complicated than I thought.
And Leslie, you had a question too.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, just kind of a thought. I know, I think Erwin had said we spent a lot of time on the caring circles, and I think we have, but it's been helpful. I think, again, there are these requests like, we need a caring circle, we need a caring circle. So it's really good to have a sense of what that entails. And I think I think we also have a really good sense from Lauren of what volunteering with her organization would entail that would be different. And I think people will have a really good sense of what's the better fit for them. I think we all are interested, we all want to help and do stuff, but some people, again, depending on their availability, depending on just what else is going on in their life or whatever, maybe caring circle is a perfect fit. For others of us, no, but I still want to do other things that are a better fit, or for my skills or my experience or whatever. So I think it's been really, really helpful to hear both and have a better sense of both, and even who to follow up with if we have questions or we are interested. We know real people now. So I can expect that Erwin and Teresa and Lauren will be having emails from some of us saying like, hey, I came to the Zoom and I'm really interested. So I really want to, as a participant, thank you for the information. And I think we did have a lot of questions and you were able to answer them. And again, people realize there's a huge need that you started out by talking about, but it's a matter of, it's not just people from Afghanistan, it's other people as well. And there are lots of ways to help, it sounds like.
That was an excellent
Yeah.
summation,
Yeah.
Leslie.
Oh, can I just go back to Marilyn for a minute? Marilyn Fencer. I wasn't clear about your question. Did you get your question answered? You did.
She said,
Okay.
yes. Okay.
Very good.
And I think she's getting off now. And I think that it's like
Thank you.
10 after 8 and we've taken up a lot of everyone's time. I can't tell you how much I appreciate Teresa, Erwin, Lauren, Gigi, taking the time to clarify things for us. I know we've spoken to some of you before, but there were so many questions. And as I said, short notice, thank you everyone for showing up. And I hope that you'll spread the word. This is recorded and I'll try to spread that word around as well. Sharon, do you want to say anything to just end up?
Oh, no, I just want to say thank you so much, all of you, for coming, everybody, because you're showing a great interest in doing something. And Erwin and Lauren, Gigi, who kills himself all the time, and Teresa, thank you so much for doing this really on short notice. We
Well,
didn't want to
thanks
wait
for
till
having us.
February.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really
so much.
appreciate it.
Thank you
Yes,
for
thank
having
you very
us.
much for having
Thank you.
us.
Thank you
Thank
very,
you.
Okay.
very,
Take
very
care,
much.
everybody. Happy holidays.
Yes.
You too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Happy New Year. Thanks, everyone.